I am your host, Kate Adams. We've got a very special guest joining us today, Austin Bain, a former first baseman, second baseman, and also a relief pitcher for the LSU Tigers. Austin, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Of course, of course. So I just want to hear a little bit about your baseball experience. Kind of where did you first start? How old were you when you began to play baseball?
I was probably about 4.
Okay.
I specifically remember throwing baseball with my dad, telling him that I wanted to play LSU baseball. It wasn't so much professional baseball for me because I grew up around Baton Rouge, and I always grew up going to the old Alex Box, watching those guys play, and all those guys like Skip Bertman was my hero. Like he's still my hero. And so I grew up watching them. I just wanted to play baseball at LSU. And so that was always my goal growing up. And so we focused a lot of time and energy on baseball mainly. Played a little bit of basketball, but it was always baseball's first. And so grew up, ended up going to a small little private school called Victory Academy. And then I went from there over to Ascension Parish and played baseball at Dutchtown. And then I finally got the opportunity to go to LSU and play there. I just finished up and retired. So now it's a different stage in my life and trying to figure things out.
I want to hear a little bit about how that is different, because when you're playing baseball at LSU, you're kind of like a celebrity in a way, I would say. For some huge LSU sports fans, and a lot of people look up to the LSU baseball. We always have a great baseball team. So I guess I wouldn't say super high profile, but going from where a lot of people do know who you are and they still know who you are, and kind of having all that energy focused around you, to working more of like a normal life, is it a big difference?
It is a difference. I mean, going out and especially going to baseball practice or events that have to do with LSU, it's nice because the fans will remember you. They'll come up and like talk to you and share life experiences that you've shared with them throughout the years. And so it's always a good feeling to be able to stay around that community and be able to befriend a lot of these people that got to watch you play, watch you fail and succeed, and have memories that you kind of built together. And so that's something that I cherish with the fans. And it's definitely different moving forward, but I think that it helps being able to be around. That's what I'm trying to say, you know?
Well, I think the fans probably love getting to see you and interact with you. So I'm assuming you might be going to some LSU baseball games this season. Now, where do you get to be for those games? Do you get to be in the dugout with the guys? Do they give you a suite? I mean, what's the setup for you?
Wherever I can be, I guess. I'm definitely going to try to be in the suites.
Okay.
That's my number one goal. I've never been in a suite. Like, I have for practices or my official visit, but I've never been for a game. And so I've always wanted to, so I'm definitely going to try to get there, but I might try to get in the dugout. I'm just going to try to be watching wherever I am.
Exactly. Just kind of have free range of Alex Box,
Exactly.
I guess.
Exactly.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with a suite. You got food, you got drinks, and you got the game right there. So it's got kind of everything you need up in there in the suites. Because I've got to be there a couple times, and it's definitely worth the experience. All right. I do want to ask you a question, because you said growing up, you always wanted to play baseball at LSU, and then you actually got the opportunity to do that. So what was it like for you to basically turn that dream into reality?
Oh, it was surreal. Growing up, like I said, that was always my dream. Skip Bertman was always my hero. And so whenever I got to go on my unofficial visit and they offered me, it was kind of like a shock. Like I didn't know how to respond. I even put on a little front where I was like, oh, I need to go home and talk to my coaches, my family and friends, and figure things out. When the whole time I was like, oh my God. And so went home, called the next day, then I committed, and it just kind of, everything exploded and everything just kind of flew through. My junior and senior season in high school went by quick. I ended up becoming friends with a lot of guys I was going to LSU with, and it all just happened so fast. And then I specifically remember my first time pitching in Alex Box. It was just surreal, just seeing all the fans there, and you're there. It was almost like a out-of-body experience. And yeah, it definitely, you kind of get used to it, but at the same time, it was amazing every single outing I got to go out there. So it's definitely a dream come true for me.
I mean, I bet I couldn't even imagine getting to experience something like that. It sounds really cool. So you mentioned Skip Bertman. He's always around, or is around as much as he can be. He is getting a little bit older these days, but I'm sure you've got to meet him, probably got to hang out with him some. What has your experience been like with Skip Bertman?
I've actually kind of gotten to develop a friendship with Skip, and so that's probably one of my most prized things. And another thing is I was lucky enough to get the Skip Bertman Award at the end of the season last year, which out of everything in college, that was probably my favorite moment out of everything. And yeah, it's just I've actually gotten to talk with him and share personal stories and hear some of his and get some advice. And that man is probably the most baseball smart human being I've ever talked to, because he, I specifically remember there was a story, me and Alex Lang pitched in a game. I was late relief, he came out in like the 4th, I went to like the 7th. And this was my sophomore year. I came out and we were done the rest of the day. Next day we get to the field, we had to go work out. We're coming back from workouts before the game, and Skip meets us in the locker room. And he calls us over and we sit down and talk with him, and he was talking about specific pitches and specific counts and situations and what we should have done. And the whole time I was sitting there like, you remember? I don't even remember all this. How do you remember all this? And yeah, and he was right about everything. And I was sitting here like, I could have done that better, I could have done this better. And it was just kind of like, my awe of him just grew even more. And he's a great person, and I love just getting to share like conversation with him.
Do you have a Skip Bertman impression?
I can do a little bit of one.
All right, let's hear something.
He'll call you over and be like, Bane, well, you should have thrown a fastball in this count. You left it down the middle on a curveball, and it got crushed. So there it is.
Hey, that was pretty good. That's pretty good. I was laughing the whole time. I've had a couple of chances, or a few chances to interact with Skip, especially back when I worked for the Sports Hall of Fame, and that was a pretty good impression.
Do you have one? I want to hear your impression.
Oh goodness, I can't do
You
it.
gotta get the
I really
pause.
can't. I know. Maybe during break I can practice
we'll
it,
practice
and then
and then go
I'll do
live.
it, next segment or something. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But no, Skip Bertman, like you said, I haven't had the experience with all that baseball talk. I've had him more in social settings, which is always fun. I remember one time we had him at this event, and I said, Skip, what do you want to drink? And he's like, just get me a tonic with some lime, because he wanted to look like he was drinking, but he didn't want to actually be drinking.
Yeah.
He wanted to go home early and
Yeah.
go to bed. But no, he's such a great guy. Do you have any other kind of fun stories with Skip that you can think of off the top of your head that you might want to share?
Not any I could say on air. One of my favorite things to do is just talk to past players and get Skip stories, but a lot of them either has things I don't need to say on air, or I just can't remember off the top of my head.
Hey, that's not a problem at all. Look, while we were talking about that, we do need to go ahead and take a short break. We are here at Scoreboards. It is a great restaurant and bar right here off of Coursey Boulevard. The address is 10655 Coursey Boulevard. It's right off of Coursey and Airline, so really easy to get to off the interstate. And look, you got to come here for all your tailgate food. They've even got food that's not tailgate style. They've got chicken Alfredo. I think that's a daily lunch special, along with some Salisbury steak. I think maybe with some mashed potatoes. That's one of my favorites, so you got to come here and get that. And look, they've got a TV in every single corner, so this is definitely the spot to come out and watch all of your games this season. We've got to take a quick break, but we will be right back.
Your dad gave me his baby to go pick up your brother from the airport.
Oh, honey, just take Mom's car. She just had navigation installed.
I totally got this. We were just there.
Hey, isn't that...
Yep. I programmed the airport in, just in case.
You don't need a new car to have new technology. Mike's Audio, conveniently located on Airline Highway near the corner of Bluebonnet.
Hi folks, Clarence Buggs here. Coach Roger Cador would take the time to tell you how to catch our brand new show, The Roger Cador Show, but as you can see, he's kind of busy right now out at Scoreboards, Baton Rouge's newest sports grill with food that is absolutely amazing. Catch the show 8 o'clock Tuesday nights, 6:30 p.m. on Wednesdays, and on Pelican Television's YouTube channel as well. You want to come out and have a great time. It's awesome, isn't it, Coach? Mm-hmm. Told you.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. taste the feeling.
Welcome back, Sports Update with Kate. I'm your host, Kate Adams. We've got Austin Bain, former first baseman, second baseman, and relief pitcher for the LSU Tigers. We were just talking a lot about Austin's experience playing baseball at LSU, also here in the state of Louisiana. He's got to interact with a lot of cool guys, some including Skip Bertman. But I do want to talk a little bit about this year's team. We've got a very talented team for the LSU Tigers, number 1 in a lot of polls, number 2 in some other polls. We won't talk about those. We only want the number 1 ones. Yeah. But I don't know if you've got a chance to really see this year's team, but you also played with about half of the guys on this year's team. So kind of talk about maybe some of the guys that you're impressed with and that you can see really making some serious progress this season.
Well, I can start off with the outfield. First of all, our outfield is probably the best in the nation. You have Daniel Cabrera in left field, who absolute stud. I mean, I think he's a preseason freshman All-American. Then you have Zach Watson, who's a third-year starter in center, and then Antoine Duplantis in right, who is a fourth-year starter, and most likely, if he gets 85 hits, he'll be the all-time leading hits holder.
He'll beat
record.
Eddie Furness, I think, for that.
Yeah, he will. And so, I mean, I think his last 3 years, he was 89 hits, 90 hits, 89 hits. So he's on pace. We just have to hope he has another good year. And but they're absolutely probably our biggest leaders. Those outfielders, we have Josh Smith at short, who he's probably going to be the vocal guy, the guy that leads by, he'll lead by example, but he'll also kind of guide the team, talk through meetings and everything, and get the team going in the right direction. Then you have Zach Hess, who will also be a vocal leader, and just absolute workhorse. He'll do anything for the team, and he's
he was a preseason All-American.
Yeah,
Zach Hess. Yeah,
he was too. Yeah, he's a stud, and he's going to do a lot of good things this year. I have a good feeling about that. And you have a bunch of other returners who are going to also put in their time and do their part. But the new guys, I feel like they have the skill already. Like they're practicing hard, they're working hard. I've heard the chemistry on the team is great. We're really going to see as the season goes on how their mental game is and how they can handle adversity and losses, because it's baseball. You're going to lose. So I think that we're going to get to see, and they're going to be tested. And I think that we have a good group of leaders that are going to help them kind of understand how to handle all that stuff, because that's what I got growing up through LSU. I was lucky enough to play with some very great baseball players, but not just that, but they were so good at handling adversity. And that's really a skill that you need to learn. And so I feel confident that our older guys are going to teach the freshman class that.
Talking about veteran players, are there certain guys that you see playing a really important leadership role on that team?
Yes. Like for returners coming back? Yeah. So it's Josh Smith and Zach Hess are going to be the two most out there. Josh is going to speak for the team. He's going to speak to the team. He's going to be the one holding the meetings, along with Zach Hess. And the guys that are going to be leading by example, not talking so much, are Antoine Duplantis, who works hard, does everything the right way. You have Zach Hess, who's also going to be working just as hard, and then Daniel Cabrera, who's going to bring that attitude in the game that you want from a leader. He's going to be, I'm not going to say arrogant or anything, but he's going to have that confidence that you want your guys to have. And so he's going to kind of show everybody else, like, hey, I got us, let's go. And so that's what I think is going to be pretty much the 5 main guys leading.
So I had Mikey Matuk on my show last week, and he was always known as a very emotional player. Would you say Zach Hess is kind of like that as far as emotion goes?
Yeah, I can definitely say that. Zach Hess is intense. As his friend, he is always intense. Whether it's at home doing nothing, it's just he's an intense human being. And when he's on the mound, it's almost like just another side, and just even more so. He just comes out and he's very emotional. He wants to win so bad that he's willing to do whatever it takes. And so that also translates off the field, because he's probably has the best work ethic that I've ever seen out of anybody. There's actually stories about him. His freshman year, We had like a little apartment area that we stay in for freshmen, and he would go like 300 yards away in the middle of the night and just do arm care at the playground. And so, like, we all messed with him about that, but he had a work ethic. He knew what he wanted, and he worked hard for it. So I respect him for that, and I think that he's going to do well.
Well, I mean, it shows something when you're willing to go out and do that.
Exactly.
It shows something about a person. And I mean, but definitely shows something about you when you were telling about yourself. I mean, you obviously worked yourself to a certain point because your dream was to play LSU baseball and you got there. I mean, did you do, you know, I don't know how it works. Is it private training lessons, or how did you work yourself up to get to the level you needed to be in order to be ready to be an LSU baseball player?
Starting from when I was a kid?
Yeah, I mean, just tell me how it goes. I guess.
We actually had a cage in the backyard, and my dad was the main reason that I did this, because he pushed me so hard when I was younger. And we would hit every day, we would throw almost every day, and then I would be on one or two teams in the middle of the season. I'd be on like a coach's pitch team and a machine pitch team, and the next year it'd be like machine pitch and kids pitch. And so I would be leaving a field, going to another field, or leaving a practice, going to another practice, and I just kind of repetition. It just kept happening year after year, just kept working, and eventually things started getting better and better for me. And then eventually I did get into lessons. I did hitting lessons, pitching lessons, and fielding lessons. And that helped me kind of get to the next level, was finding somebody who was able to work with me and like fix the kind of kinks that I had in my ability. But puberty was a big thing for me, because I was a chubby kid. I really was. And then I actually was working hard when I went through puberty, and I think that's also what helped me a lot. But yeah, and then it was just kind of like it was a grind.
Well, now you get to get advice from professionals that are actually playing in the league, and from guys like Skip Bertman. I mean, after you finished your college career, were you just kind of at a point where you're like, all right, maybe right now baseball isn't for me at this moment, or what happened after college career, I guess, with you and baseball?
So the turning point for me was actually probably sophomore year in college. I had finished my freshman year, had shoulder surgery, and then I was pitching sophomore year, and I was still feeling pain. I was just kind of trying to throw through it because I was like, they fixed it. I know nothing's wrong, but it hurts still. And then that's when I kind of took a step back and realized, I was like, waking up and doing what you're supposed to do hurts. And do I really want to do that the rest of my life, or not for the next 10 years, 5 years, something like that? So I kind of was able to take it into perspective and look at what I kind of wanted to do in the future. And then I realized, like, baseball's not always going to be there for me. And so I looked at different avenues on my career path and everything, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I stumbled into real estate last year, and then I wanted to learn everything I could about it. And then I found commercial real estate. And so at the end of the season, it was kind of like, you know what, I'm having a good year. I'm enjoying baseball again. I'm having fun. But I kind of looked at it and I was like, do I want to start my life at 25 with a little bit of money from a signing bonus and no job, or do I want to start my life at 23 with a degree, and then by the time I'm 25, I already have a job that I've had for 2 years. I have clientele with more money and maybe like a place that I'm living in. So I kind of tried being realistic about it and as mature as I could, and figure things out after that.
Hey, that sounds like a good plan, because at some point you have to do that. I mean, reality hits at some point, but you are coaching a team right now. Mm-hmm. So just tell me a little bit so you're not completely removed from baseball or anything. You're still got a little bit of your hand in it. Tell me about what you're doing coaching-wise right now.
So coaching, I'm helping Kurt Ainsworth over at Traction. We have 2 teams over there, and 13 and 14-year-old team. It's almost like I'm relearning the game of baseball, because there's certain things, like in college, we don't cut to second base. And 14-year-olds, I was trying to tell them, I was like, no, just back up. Well, maybe you should cut off the second base. So I'm still trying to figure it out. It's almost like a different sport. So I'm still trying to figure out some of that stuff, but baseball is what I know, it's what I love, and I feel like it's almost like a good avenue to meet more people and network and everything like that, while at the same time teaching the youth about what a great sport and kind of how to do certain things. So I enjoy it, and I love all the kids to death, and I just feel like it's just a stepping stone for my path.
Do you see a little bit of yourself in some of those younger kids? Does it ever take you back to the days when you were kind of getting ready and?
Somewhat, but I was always a chubby shortstop. I wasn't very fast, but I could field a ground ball and make a strong throw. But haven't seen any of them on this team. But there are some kids that work really hard, and those are the guys that you kind of want to do anything you can for. So I really enjoy working with them.
No, I mean, kids are fun, and they always say the funniest stuff too. You'll never know what is going to come out of a kid's mouth.
You really don't. You really don't. They'll like say something. Oh man, I can't even tell you some of the things they say. And they're 14.
Yeah, yeah. Trust me, I know. I've got a niece and nephew, and they tell me way too much than I should know. So I want to talk a little bit about the younger generation for a second, but move back up to college. So, some of the freshmen and sophomores on the team. What is the transition like going from high school to college?
It's a really big transition because in high school, what you have to think of, the good teams, they might only have, in Louisiana, I'm saying, and the good teams might only have 2 or 3 guys going D1. Well, in D1 ball, everybody was the best player on their high school team. So kind of going into it, most of the time, if you're going to college, you're the best player on your high school team, or one of them. And you kind of have to learn, like, okay, I'm in college, I'm no longer the best player on my team. Everybody here was the best player on their team. And so it's kind of like you need to be humble and have humility about it and go into it with an open mind. You have to go into it with a hard, like, very good work ethic, because if you don't, you'll be passed up by everybody. And in high school, it was almost like the guys that are going to play at the next level, there are some that work hard, and there are some who just have it naturally. And it's kind of like they don't have to develop it as much in high school, but when you get to college, if you don't develop it, you will easily be passed up by everybody. And so that's the biggest like learning curve that I think anybody would have to deal with.
So definitely can't go into the locker room with a big ego.
Not at all. Even if you're like Under Armour All-American, there's probably like 5 other guys in LSU's locker room that was Under Armour All-American. So you can't do that at all.
All right, so all you future LSU baseball players, you heard it here. Okay, we do have to take a quick break. This is Sports Update with Kate. We are here at Scoreboards. It's a great restaurant right off Coursey Boulevard. The address is 10655 Coursey Boulevard, right off Coursey and Airline, so super easy to get to right off the interstate. Also, they've got great food. They've got some shrimp and corn bisque for those cold days if we have any more, but it's looking a little bit like it might be spring. Who knows? They've got great po' boys, nachos, everything you could ever want. Also, this is the spot to come and watch all your sports games. The TV in every corner. I've never counted how many TVs that there are in here, but if I did, it's a lot. So this is the place you got to come to. Scoreboards. Address one more time, 10655 Coursey Boulevard. We do need to take a quick break, but we'll be right back.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hi folks, Clarence Buggs here. Coach Roger Cador would take the time to tell you how to catch our brand new show, The Roger Cador Show, but as you can see, he's kind of busy right now out at Scoreboards, Baton Rouge's newest sports grill with food that is absolutely amazing. Catch the show 8 o'clock Tuesday nights, 6:30 p.m. on Wednesdays, and on Pelican Television's YouTube channel as well. You want to come out and have a great time. It's awesome, isn't it, Coach?
Mm-hmm.
Told you.
Look, your dad gave me his baby to go pick up your brother from the airport.
Oh, honey, just take Mom's car. She just had navigation installed.
I totally got this. We were just there.
Hey, isn't that...
Yep. I programmed the airport in, just in case.
You don't need a new car to have new technology. Mike's Audio, conveniently located on Airline Highway near the corner of Bluebonnet.
Hey guys, Sports Update with Kate. Kate. I'm Kate Adams. This is Austin Bain, former first baseman, second baseman, and relief pitcher for the LSU Tigers. That's a lot of words, but I got it. I'm pretty sure, right?
No, yeah, you got it.
Yeah, I got it. All right. So we've been talking a lot about LSU baseball because why not? I've got a former LSU baseball player here. We're going to talk some LSU baseball. Just last Friday, head coach Paul Mainieri, he did announce 2 roster moves on the Tigers baseball team for the 2019 season. So infielder Chris Reed from Baton Rouge, he's going to be reinstated to the 35-man roster. Do you have any information about that, or is there any?
So it was a big move for Coach
Okay.
to be able to do that. And Reed, I can speak tons on his character and how much of a teammate he is. And I actually spoke to him before he got released to the public that he was coming back, and he told me, he was like, hey, Coach called. He told me he wanted me back on the team, and he wanted me to take some ground balls and kind of get back into the swing of things. And I was so happy for him that he got that opportunity, because he really has worked hard. He's done a lot for the team, and he would do anything for each one of the guys on the team. And so I was really happy that he's able to kind of get back and get in the swing of things. And I know, speaking for the LSU fans, that everybody else is just as happy, because nobody gets as many retweets or favorites on tweets as Chris Reed does. He's a guru on Twitter, and he tweets the best stuff. So all the fans love him, and I just couldn't be more proud of him.
I need to start following him on Twitter now that you told me about that.
You do. He does have some good stuff, I promise.
So when you kind of are in that position for him, do you think that he's going to play with a whole lot of passion this season? I mean, what do you see, or what did you envision from him for this 2019 season?
I envision him to do a lot of really good things. I think at the beginning of the year he's going to kind of start behind third, backing up third. But I think throughout the year he'll get some pinch hits, and then he'll start getting some defensive placement. And I think he's going to do a lot of good things for the team, even if it is one inning at a time at the beginning, maybe work himself into more. But I mean, he's a ball player. He's one of those guys that, I mean, you watch play the game, you know he's playing with everything he has, doesn't care what people think. He's doing everything he can, and it's not for the fans. It's not for anything but his teammates, and that's why I love him so much, is because he's the epitome of a good teammate. And so it makes me happy that he's back, and he's one of my favorite players to watch and always has been. And so I think he's going to have a really good impact on the team, even if it's off the field.
Hey, any impact is helpful, especially having a person like that who has that type of effect on other people and kind of brings others up and is super motivational. And I can't just wait to follow him on Twitter and see what he says. All right, also, AJ Levis, right? So he's got surgery. He's going to miss the whole entire 2019 season. Did you kind of know anything about his surgery or his injury, or what is it like, I guess? Or have you ever experienced it, or know someone who has, maybe this guy right here, when you're on a team and then you've got to get pulled off because of surgery and something like that? Like, how devastating is something like that for him?
It's definitely tough. And I can actually speak on his surgery because I'm almost positive that he's having the same surgery that I had after my freshman year. So I had a Bennett's lesion, which I'm pretty sure he had, and they had to scope in my joint. So they had to put something in there and shave it off. And it was almost like a bump in my joint that the socket and the bone kept hitting it, and it caused inflammation. So they had to slit the capsule on the back just to relieve stress. And it was extremely painful, and I had trouble opening doors or driving with my right hand. And so I had surgery, and I kind of felt a little bit of pain afterwards. And I've already talked to another one of the freshmen who's going to have the same surgery, and I haven't reached out to AJ. I've been waiting on him to reach out to me. But I kind of wanted to talk to him and talk him through the surgery and how you're going to feel after and everything like that. But it's definitely hard to get pulled off a team, especially when you had a positive effect on it the year before, because it's almost like you feel a responsibility to repeat that or do the same or even better for the team the next year. And so I know it's a lot of stress on him, like, because he did pitch well for us last year. He did really well, and he put up some very good numbers. And so not being able to return, it's going to be extremely hard on him to watch the team. I was injured in the fall and had to watch them practice, and it was hard on me. But I'd never missed a game in the spring. But he's going to get through it, and I think he's going to come back stronger than ever.
Well, we definitely hope so because he is great for the Tigers, and we want to continue seeing him do great things for LSU. So we've talked a lot of baseball. I do want to switch gears for a second, or for a little bit, who knows how long. But I want to talk about Super Bowl. Now, you watched the Super Bowl, or a little bit of it, right? It was just a boring game, right?
Yeah, it was slow. I remember there was a stat line that when I was on the show with Jacob that he read, not a stat line, it was a bet line or something, and it was you could bet on if they scored in the first half or not. And I was thinking, I was like, these are two great offensive. They're going to score in the first half, and then it was like 3-0 or 3-3 in the first half, and I was like, wow. I think what was this the lowest scoring Super Bowl?
Scoring Super Bowl in history. So
That's crazy. And then with Tom Brady at that, who's arguably the best quarterback to ever live.
Well, I guess he is now with 6 rings, the first guy ever to have 6 Super Bowl rings. So, although I hate saying Tom Brady is the GOAT because we've got Drew Brees here in Louisiana, and to me, Drew Brees is the real GOAT. And speaking about that right now is he did not get NFL regular season MVP. A lot of us were rooting for that. Now, towards the end of the season, he wasn't as hot as he was kind of mid-season. Patrick Mahomes got MVP. What do you think about him getting MVP? Do you feel like it should have been someone different?
I'm a Saints fan. I definitely think Drew Brees should have got it, but you can't take away what Patrick Mahomes did with his team. And he's an athlete. I've seen videos of him hitting a golf ball, playing basketball, doing anything, and he's kind of well-rounded and all that. But I'm always going to wish the best for Drew Brees. I want him to win every game he can, play the best he can, and win the MVP. But it's hard, and everybody's working to get that spot. And so Patrick Mahomes got it this year, and Saints kind of got screwed on it.
And we're going to talk about that.
I knew that was coming. I knew it
The
was
Saints
coming.
definitely got screwed. Look, Patrick Mahomes, I love to just watch a really talented athlete. He killed this season. I mean, he had an incredible season. As much as I wanted Drew Brees to get it, the votes were really spread out. I think it was the first time that they had ever had that much deficit with the voting process for MVP. I think that Drew Brees only got something like 9 votes, and Patrick got a whole lot more. So that's how that happened. But Drew Brees did get an NFL honor. He got the Art Rooney Sportsmanship Award, and that goes to a player for outstanding sportsmanship on the field. And look, I think that's a great honor to have, and who better to get that honor than Drew Brees?
Absolutely. Drew Brees, you can never attack his class. He's one of the classiest football players. He's always respectful to everybody. And one of my favorite moments was whenever he broke the passing record. And he came in and was able to talk to his wife and his children and kind of talk to them about it. And nobody can watch that and say they weren't a little bit touched by it. So you really can't attack his class and how good of just a player he was to everybody and just a person in general. So it definitely makes me proud that he represents the New Orleans Saints.
I mean, I don't think there's anybody. I think Drew Brees is definitely one of a kind. We're never going to see another guy like Drew Brees. Talking about that moment, I was actually at that game.
Really?
It was awesome. He looks at his kids, hugs them, and says, if you put your mind, something along the lines of, if you put your mind to it, or if you work hard, you can do anything you dream of, or something along. But I mean, seriously, that's the first thing you said to his kids, and that was genuine. That wasn't something that's made up. I mean, that's just the person who he is. So in order to be a leader for the Saints, the quarterback, I mean, he has been nothing short of great and amazing for the city of New Orleans and for the state of Louisiana. So I know we're so happy to have him here. I do want to talk about how the Saints were robbed, and I want to talk about the boycott bowl and all of that, but we do need to take a quick break, so I'm going to save that till after this segment. Maybe I'll even practice my Skip Bertman impression a little bit. I don't know.
I'm trying to get her to do it.
Yeah, I might do it. But like I told you earlier, we are here at Scoreboards, 10655 Coursey Boulevard, right off of Coursey and Airline, off the interstate. Look, TV's in every corner. This is a really great place to come eat some food, get some nachos, bring your friends. They've got great shows here all day that you can come and watch for entertainment. And look, this huge TV in the background, it's got sports playing on it when it's not my show. So you got to come here and check out this huge TV screen. 4 LED. I don't know what the size of these are, but I'll find out and I'll let you know when we come back. 60-inch or 450 inches. Sorry, they were trying to tell me off air. So, look, come here. This is the place to come and watch some sports. We do have to take a quick break, but we will be right back.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hi folks, Clarence Buggs here. Coach Roger Cador would take the time to tell you how to catch our brand new show, The Roger Cador Show, but as you can see, he's kind of busy right now out at scoreboards. Baton Rouge's newest sports grill with food that is absolutely amazing. Catch the show 8 o'clock Tuesday nights, 6:30 p.m. on Wednesdays and on Pelican Television's YouTube channel as well. You want to come out and have a great time. It's awesome, isn't it, Coach? Mm-hmm. Told you.
Look, your dad gave me his baby to go pick up your brother from the airport.
Oh, honey, just take Mom's car. She just had navigation installed.
I totally got this. We were just there.
Hey, isn't that...
Yep. I programmed the airport in, just in case.
You don't need a new car to have new technology. Mike's Audio, conveniently located on Airline Highway near the corner of Bluebonnet.
Welcome back. This is Sports Update with Kate. I'm your host, Kate Adams. We've got special guest Austin Bain, who was a first baseman, second baseman, and a relief pitcher for the LSU Tigers. So thank you, Austin, for spending a little bit of time with me today. So we've talked baseball. We've talked a little bit of football, so I do want to get back into football. So, all right, we talked about the Super Bowl. You were kind of bored with it. I was kind of bored with it. Were there at least some commercials that you liked? I mean, that's the big thing about Super Bowl is all the commercials. Did you see any commercials that you're like, oh, that was pretty good?
I actually didn't watch that many commercials. I really didn't. The only one I really remember that I liked was the football anniversary one, when it was all those football stars.
It had Roger Goodell in it.
Yeah, that
that
one.
was pretty good.
That was good. They had Marshawn Lynch reaching the cake, and the football drops and says fumble, and everybody jumped on it. That was probably my favorite that I remembered.
Yeah, mine too, probably. And honestly, I don't really remember all the commercials either.
Yeah, so you asked me, you don't know either.
So, well, I was hoping you had some good input, and then we could kind of roll off that, you know.
Yeah.
But anyways, all right. So what about the halftime performance? Did you watch that?
I did. I actually watched the first song mainly
Okay.
because my friends told me I can actually like listen and like pay attention to bets now, because the last 4 years bets were a no-go for college athletes. And so somebody said that you could bet on what song Maroon 5 sang first. And so like the place I was at, everybody's guessing and nobody got it right. I don't even remember what the song was, but like people were saying it was going to
Girls
be
Like You song?
Moves Like Jagger or
Moves
whatever.
Like Jagger, okay.
And so I was like, oh, I think that too, because I'm not I don't know a lot of Maroon 5 songs, but I was wrong.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even know you can make bets on that kind of stuff. So next time, I think, maybe
That's something
put a little
easy.
extra cash aside for that. So did you win any bets that you made?
I didn't make any bets.
Okay.
I don't know how to do them, so I wasn't really going into it too much.
So did you see the ending part where Adam Levine ripped off his shirt and all that?
I did.
All right. What are your thoughts on that?
He's tattooed up. He's fully tatted just everywhere, but I mean, other than that, I didn't check him out too much or anything along those lines.
I've seen some pretty funny memes about, that. I think
haven't
there's like
seen
a
any.
heavier set guy, would put his state across his chest, because he's got the California. There's been some pretty funny stuff that's come out, and he's actually got a lot of backlash from his Super Bowl performance. I honestly thought personally it was decent. I wasn't like, oh my goodness, this is the best Super Bowl I've ever seen, but
Yeah.
it was decent. Travis Scott, they had to bleep out basically half of his song. So I mean, I don't know, but I knew the song that he sang, and then they had Big Boy. I wish they would have had all of Outkast.
That was a bet too.
There
was a bet,
okay.
and it was the bet was if all of Outkast was going to show up or not. I don't know if they did or not, but
They didn't. And if they would have, I think it would have made
would've
it
made
just
way
one of the
better.
best Super Bowl performances ever. But unfortunately, we didn't get to see Outkast, which I love Outkast. I'm a big 90s music person, and so Outkast was right up my alley. All right, so halftime to me and the commercials were a little bit more exciting than the actual game, but who would have thought such a low-scoring game, the final score of the game, 13-3. That's a little ironic. Saints season they were 13-3 in their season.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then we've got a 13-3 game. Anything ironic about that you think, or?
I don't know. The one ironic thing I heard was I think it was like one of the first plays of the game. There was a flag for like hitting a defenseless receiver or something like that. And immediately I checked Twitter and it was like, oh, now you want to call it. It was the very next game from what happened with the Saints. And yeah, it was just.
Well, so a lot of Saints fans feel that we were robbed. Me being one of them. You probably
Yeah,
being one of
no,
them as
I'm-
well. I mean, there's so many things. My brain's just like going crazy right now because there's so much I want to say. But Roger Goodell didn't even officially come out with anything to say. He finally had a press conference leading up to the Super Bowl, and he said, of course, some generic BS that he always says, which never gets anything done. I mean, what do you think about Roger Goodell? Do you think he's a clown like all those shirts people are making?
Oh, yeah, the shirts. I don't know enough to really make a really good opinion on it, but I will say that he does a lot for the owners, and they control if he's in, I'm pretty sure, so that he's not going anywhere. I do wish that he would have came out sooner. I think him prolonging it honestly made it worse. So I think he handles situations the wrong way. But yeah, and like after the game, he did say one thing a week later, but he said that they wouldn't invoke the rule that would make them replay the game. And I do understand why. It was a judgment call on the ref, but I think that the refs should be held liable for bad calls like that. Just like players are held liable for their actions, I think that the refs should be held liable or fined for something like that because it let down an entire city, you know? And so it was honestly one of the worst calls I've ever seen.
One of the worst no calls I've ever seen, and yeah, and then that ref was reffing a game, like a basketball game, like a week later.
Really?
And then apparently all these refs had some ties to LA. I don't know. Everybody's got their conspiracy theory. I don't know if I'm all into that, but it is kind of strange to have these guys who are from LA, or there was one that said a guy previously played for the Rams back in like the 80s, and I don't know if they officially confirmed that story or not, but it was kind of crazy because that call, if they would have made it, was the most clear pass interference, helmet to helmet, that you could have ever seen. Like, even my mom, who doesn't even watch a lot of sports, like, my grandmother could have made that call. You know, I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
And they're not even sports people. So I just thought it was a little wild that they didn't call it. And it's very unfortunate for the Saints. We've just kind of had a bad year in the state of Louisiana for sports in general. First with LSU football. You know, the Texas A&M game going
yeah,
so
the A&M
terribly.
game was
And
tough.
honestly, if we would have won that game, I think we would have been somewhere in the playoff picture.
We definitely could have been.
So,
we were up there for sure.
With everything that happened. And then this happening to the Saints. I mean, do you have anything to say to sports fans in Louisiana? I mean, is it going to get better?
Just hang in there. we're gonna bust through one day and we're gonna do something great. You just hang in there.
Well, I guess on the bright side, LSU baseball, number 1, number 2 in the country. LSU gymnastics, number 5 in the country. I actually was just at the gymnastics meets, which are so fun. So if you haven't been out to one, you've got to go because, man, look, Dee Dee Rose, she pumps it up. I mean,
She's awesome.
she's so awesome.
She's broken down some huddles that we've had before games, and she is hilarious, and
She is.
she's a good coach. But we're a gymnast school. Like people say, oh, we're a football school, we're a gymnast school. They are unbelievable, and just to watch some of the stuff they do, and then going to the meets, they have fire in the PMAC flying up when they introduce people. It's crazy. And then like all the music they play, they have videos of the girls dancing,
Oh,
just
yeah.
like 2 of them. It's definitely entertainment, and I enjoy going. I try to go as many as I can.
Oh yeah, it's pure entertainment, and there's nobody better than Dee Dee Bro, which I think she's one of the longest coaches, might be the longest coach in SEC history to coach for this long for the same team. 40-something years. I don't have the exact number right in front of me, but You said Dee Dee came and broke up some huddles of you guys. Do you have any stories from that, or no, nothing you can say? She's a great lady.
We're gonna leave that quiet. She's a great coach.
Well, I got to interact with Dee Dee a lot because she was inducted into the Hall of Fame when I worked there.
Oh, okay.
So I got to do a lot of stuff with Dee Dee, and I loved every moment with her.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She was a lot of fun to hang out with, and I just loved her style, because she's got those really loud jackets with tigers and stripes and bedazzles and just everything. And that lady must have 365 different jackets or something, decorative jackets that she
Never
wears, 'cause
seen her
she's
look
got-
the same.
She never has the same jacket on. She's always got something different. So no, she is such a great lady, and she leads that gymnastics team to a top spot year after year after year. I really haven't seen many coaches be able to do that, and she's definitely one of those legendary coaches in there. So I know our gymnastics team is going to be great this year. And look, go out to the gymnastics meets. We do need to take a quick break. We are here at Scoreboards. The address is 10655 Coursey Boulevard, right off of Coursey and Airline. Lots of TVs. This is the place to come watch your sports games. Come watch your LSU baseball games, your LSU gymnastics, LSU basketball, which we haven't even talked about. They're number 21 in the country right now, and they are on a roll under the leadership of Will Wade. So look, this is a great spot to come watch your sports games and support your local teams like the New Orleans Pelicans, which we'll talk a little bit about when we come back. So look, come here, watch your games. 10655 Coursey Boulevard is the address. Scoreboards is the name of the place. We've got to take a quick break, but we will be right back.
Hi folks, Clarence Buggs here. Coach Roger Cador would take the time to tell you how to catch our brand new show, The Roger Cador Show, but as you can see, he's kind of busy right now out at Scoreboards, Baton Rouge's newest sports grill with food that is absolutely amazing. Catch the show 8 o'clock Tuesday nights, 6:30 p.m. on Wednesdays, and on Pelican Television's YouTube channel as well. You want to come out and have a great time. It's awesome, isn't it, Coach?
Mm-hmm.
Told you.
Look, your dad gave me his baby to go pick up your brother from the airport.
Oh, honey, just take Mom's car. She just had navigation installed.
I totally got this. We were just there.
Hey, isn't that...
Yep. I programmed the airport in, just in case.
You don't need a new car to have new technology. Mike's Audio, conveniently located on Airline Highway near the corner of Bluebonnet.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Welcome back to Sports Update with Kate. I'm your host, Kate Adams. We've got Austin Bain here with us. He is a former LSU baseball Tiger. He played first baseman, second baseman, and also was a relief pitcher for the LSU Tigers. So Austin's been hanging out with me here. We've been talking about all types of things, some LSU baseball, a lot of that actually. A little bit of football. I know you're not a huge football guy, but we're going to talk some more football.
Oh, we can do
all
that.
right, so we had the Super Bowl this past Sunday. We already discussed it was boring, all of that. Well, you know what wasn't boring? Was if you were in New Orleans this past Sunday, they threw a party that you definitely wanted it to be at. I mean, there was thousands and thousands of people that were filling the streets in New Orleans, just partying and boycotting the Super Bowl. Because guess what? After we got robbed of a Super Bowl, nobody wanted to watch that game, especially when we could have pounded on those Patriots way more than the Rams did.
It's
Now,
funny
you
how
know-
passionate you're getting about this because I can
I am
definitely
very
tell.
passionate. My heart starts beating really fast. I'm still upset about it. I'll probably never get over it. I don't think a lot of fans will get over it. Is this something that you can get over as a fan?
No, we're always gonna talk about it. It'll be 10 years from now, and Drew Brees is gonna be retired. And we're gonna be like, oh, remember that time we had the chance that was blown and everything. So I mean, but it's sports, and you have to kind of take it with a grain of salt. Refs are human too.
Well, I don't know. Well, so they had the boycott ball. I want to talk about that. Now, there was fans. Now, you said you saw some pictures from that. of maybe some blind people,
Yeah,
or
so
not
there was,
blind, but pretending
there was a
to be.
video on Twitter today, and it was from the Boycott Bowl where they had like 2 people dressed in ref uniforms, and they had like the blind glasses on with a stick, and they were just walking down. They had their flags still in their pockets, and so everybody's just having a really good time with
Look,
it.
that's going to be the #1 Halloween costume for this year, probably, for
You're right,
Louisiana people, because
100%.
they did that with LSU, with the big thing that happened with Devin White.
Yeah.
Also with the Texas A&M game. Look, and then we've got the Saints, which is even worse than anything that happened to LSU, honestly, because they were robbed of a Super Bowl, and you and I were just talking off air. I mean, you don't just make it to the NFC Championship. I mean, that is something that you have to work extremely hard. Now, Drew Brees said he's coming back next year. Do you think the Saints can get back to the NFC Championship and get back to giving themselves a chance to be in the Super Bowl and make it happen for the city of New Orleans?
Yeah, I think they can. I don't really know much about who's coming back or who they're getting new or who's leaving or anything like that, but I think they have a really good shot, especially after this year's team. And if you have Drew Brees coming back, that leadership goes miles. That goes a big time in professional sports and college sports. And I think they have a really good chance of getting back.
Well, I hope that is true and that is the case, because I know a lot of New Orleans fans and just Saints fans in general would be so thrilled to have that. Even Drew Brees commented on the Boycott Bowl. We've had people dressed up as a flag, as a yellow flag. They had people dancing on platforms. I mean, this is one of the biggest parties. I guess it was kind of almost like a pre-Mardi Gras party. But I mean,
Yeah.
I just think it's great that they got together and did that. I mean, the ratings went down this year for the Super Bowl. What do you think it says about New Orleans Saints fans doing all of the things that they did for this?
I think it's awesome. I mean, it shows like a certain amount of like brand loyalty towards your team. And so it was great seeing the videos, and I didn't get to participate or anything, but seeing the videos of the street that was just packed, you couldn't even walk through. It was like normal streets, like Poydras or something looked like Bourbon Street, you know? And so it was absolutely insane just to know that we have those type of fans in our state.
Now, we did talk a little bit about Roger Goodell, but there could be some rule changes in the NFL for next season. What rule changes would you suggest that they make?
I read somewhere talking about being able to review a call. Like, for instance, they couldn't review that call because it was an official decision. And so I think they were talking about implementing a way to review a call based off of an opinion of a ref. So let's say that ref makes a bad opinion. It'd be like in baseball, there's a called out. And then they could review that play to see if he was out or safe. And then the other umpires would go in and watch, and then they would make their opinion on it. And if he got it wrong, he got it wrong. And I think that if they did that on flag calls or something along those lines, I feel like it would be way easier.
Look, something like that, or I think maybe bring it down to the last 2 minutes of the game, especially if it's a championship game or something like that, where if there's not a call made, you have a chance to, I don't know if you would throw a flag or what you would do, but have a chance to say, hey, let's review that, make it happen, make it a call, challenge it or whatever. Now, I know that's not how challenges are used, but if they created some type of way that they could do it, and especially when it comes down to the last 2 minutes of the game, like it did for the Saints. I mean, like it did for LSU earlier this year. I mean, those are crucial moments of the game, and everybody can say what they want. They can say, oh, well, if they would have played the game differently in the first 3 quarters, that's BS. Don't say, I'm having to bite my tongue here because
You're so passionate about this.
I'm so passionate about it. So just look, if that call would have been made, the Saints would have been in the Super Bowl, and they literally would have pounded the Patriots because the Rams couldn't barely score 3 points. Jared Goff had a horrible game. I mean, it was sad to watch the Rams in that game. Todd Gurley looked sad the whole time. It was just a sad, sad game. I didn't enjoy watching it. I watched it anyways because I have to do this show. And so I was like,
I'm surprised you weren't in New Orleans at the Boycott Bowl.
I know, I should have been there. But I wasn't. But look, you know what? It's okay. We're going to go get him next year. So Saints fans, do not worry. I do want to talk about one more guy in the city of New Orleans, Anthony Davis. Now, he has requested that he wants to be traded, and the LA Lakers are looking at him. But look, I don't think New Orleans is going to give Anthony Davis up. I mean, the trade deadline is this Thursday, so some decisions have to be made. I doubt that the Pelicans will trade him, but who knows? Do you have any thoughts on this situation?
Well, basketball is not exactly the sport that I follow the most, but I will say that from an athlete's perspective, it's a business. And he might still love the city of New Orleans, but when it comes to his career, he might feel that it's best for him to grow and to move or play with different players. And so, especially the way the NBA is now, where they have super teams and everything like that, it sounds like he wants to team up with LeBron. And so, I mean, if he goes over and does that, Lakers are going to be unbelievable. But I really think in the end of the day, it's not because he dislikes New Orleans. It's just as in a business move, it makes the most sense to him at this moment. So it doesn't make me hate him anymore or anything like that. So I respect his decision and whatever he chooses to make.
I think Anthony Davis's biggest thing is he just wants to be on a championship team, and right now New Orleans is not that for him. And so, look, I honestly don't blame him. It is very sad to see him go. Look, he's going to go somewhere. He's not going to stay at New Orleans, but it could be Braun in the Brow. Who knows?
Yeah.
Braun in the Brow.
We need to trademark that or something.
So, look, one more thing I want to talk about. We just running out of time, but three players from Louisiana are going into the 2019 Pro Football Hall of Fame. So we've got Kevin Mawai, Johnny Robinson, and Ed Reed. I've actually got to meet Ed Reed. He is such a great guy. Just tell me quickly what it means to have guys like that who are from the state of Louisiana to be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
It's awesome to have the guys that have been through the program and have done great things at the next level, because not only is it a good recruiting tool, but it just makes the university look better in general. And so as LSU, there's always going to be great players come through, and there's always going to be great players that have already been through. And it's just, it's a refreshing feeling to know that LSU is one of the best and premier colleges in the country, and it always will be.
Look, I agree with that. LSU and the state of Louisiana, they produce some pretty great athletes. So we are so lucky to have some of those guys come from our state and come from LSU. Look, we are here at Scoreboards. Thank you for watching a Sports Update with Kate. Thank you, Austin Bain. Thank you to my producer, Caleb St. Germain. Everybody have a great week, and we'll see you next week.